Hi everyone, this is Tamur. Welcome to my channel, The Cloud Security Guy. In case you are new here, I talk on a weekly basis about things like cloud security, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity career advice. So today I'm going to be talking about like some good old-fashioned cybersecurity advice. And a topic which a lot of people ask me about is how to do a career switch from IT into cybersecurity. So first of all, why should you listen to me? So, brief background about myself. I have been in the cybersecurity industry for the past 20 years. I won a few awards in the industry. I've been published. So, I know a little bit about cybersecurity. But this topic, a lot of people have asked me about, which is how to do a career switch. Like you are in IT and you move into cybersecurity in the maybe in the UK. I'm focused more on the UK because that's where I'm based. But you can apply the advice which I'm going to give you. You can apply that honestly anywhere. Now, switching jobs is a scary experience at the best of times, but switching entire careers it can be very stressful. Okay, and especially in these difficult times, a lot of people are looking to future-proof their careers and get more long-term stability. They want to move to better-paying jobs. No job is recession-proof, but cybersecurity is still relatively stable compared to other careers, provided that you invest in yourself and you make sure you are keeping your skills up to date and you're smart about your career. Then, yeah, you do have a better chance of keeping your career stable. So, before we move ahead, guys, please do like and subscribe to this channel, comment on it. If you feel that I should have covered something, that will really help the channel to grow and benefit the maximum amount of people. So before we jump ahead, guys, let's talk a little about a bit about the UK jobs market, so I can set the context. I'm talking, of course, about UK because that is where I am based, and like I can speak the most confidently about these things. So about the UK, good news is cybersecurity jobs are booming. Newly published report has shown that London remains the second most active city in the world for fintech, behind the States, and the fintech space in the UK is rapidly expanding. Okay, London's fintech space is, they have a very good challenger bank industry with Brexit and a lot of other things. So there's a lot of shortage, and the cybersecurity jobs are booming. Bad news is, of course, we have global events happening and news of a recession coming. Inflation has become a bit of a problem and a global issue. That is the bad news. Although the economy does go up and down, and it's part of a cycle. That's the bad news. But like I said, that of all the jobs, cybersecurity job roles are still in demand and will continue to be in demand. Companies are planning to grow and invest more and more in technology, as well as recruitment, new staff. Retention has been a major challenge for a lot of UK companies, and they really are desperate to hire as many people as possible because of Brexit. There's a lot of shortage, and this is not just my subjective opinion. This you can go to here. You can go to the skilled worker visa shortage occupations. This is the UK government. What it does is it maintains a list of occupations which are like in short supply in the UK, and employers are allowed to hire and sponsor people from outside the UK with like more favorable and more relaxed criteria in if the role is in this list. And you can take a look at this. You can Google it, go to it. The UK has a particular shortage of cybersecurity specialists, IT system designers, software development professionals. So these roles are listed here. So it is definitely a very big shortage, to the extent that the government has gone to the trouble of listing it here. So that's what I wanted to just set the context of where we are in the cybersecurity industry in the UK. If you want to do a career switch. Okay, so what are the cybersecurity jobs in demand? Before we move on, talk about moving into cybersecurity, let's take a look at what are the currently the most hot cybersecurity jobs. And this is not just across the UK. Honestly, this is across the world right now. First of all, DevSecOps. DevSecOps, if you're not familiar with, dedicated DevSecOps people are quite rare right now, which is why they're getting big salaries in the UK. Companies have automated their application deployment end to end, and they want to secure that also. They have a DevOps pipeline. They want to automate all everything like the security development, testing, deployment, and they want to make sure that it's secure also. So it means automating some security gates to keep the DevOps pipeline secure, shifting security to the left and integrating security. and and that means, of course, having a good DevSecOps professional there who's automating everything, who's making sure that the tools are there, automation is there, and it's not just about tools. You want to make a culture shift, so dedicated DevSec professionals are very much in demand. Next one would be cloud security. I'm a bit biased here. I love cloud security. Talking about it, it is my chosen profession after all. And as per Gartner, 95% of new workloads will be deployed in the cloud by 2025. I've talked about this. If you're not familiar with that, cloud security is going to dominate the industry. I've made a video about the current cloud computing trends and the Cloud Security 101 course, which is there. You can check that out. which gives you a full overview of cloud security if you're not familiar. But yes, cloud security jobs are very much so in demand across the world. Okay, what else is the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer? Yes, that very much so that this type of role is in demand. And the thing about the CISO is the technical skills are good, but that is not the success factor. A CISO, if you want to be a CISO, you should have experience with budget, speaking with the board, communicating value, business management, strategy development, recruitment. The list is too long to complete. I'm going to make a detailed video about the Chief Information Security Officer's roles and responsibilities soon. But just to give you an idea, of like what is needed. A lot of people think the CISO is a technical role. It's not a technical role, believe me. Next one is security architects. What is a security architect? So if you're not familiar, you are basically responsible for creating and designing security for a company or a service. You need to understand all the different architecture, the patterns, the types of security approaches like zero trust. You need to be able to recommend security controls, identify solutions, provide specialist advice. So you're looked at as a subject matter expert. This is a very experienced role. You need to have that background of cybersecurity, understand all the different types of frameworks that are there. Okay, what else? GRC specialist. So previously, there used to be IT auditors, who would come in once a year, audit you, and give you a report. Now, the new way of doing this is via GRC specialists. So basically, they are 24/7. They are in the InfoSec department. They have experience of IT security governance, risk management, compliance, cloud environments, ISO 27001, PCI DSS, all these different type of standards which are there. They know how to create an information security management system. The scope is much, much larger than a normal IT audit. And pretty much you can cover the whole IT risk management area here. Okay. So I hope this set up a good background. You understood what I'm talking about. So if you are in the IT field and you want to move into cybersecurity, that is what you want to do. Let's talk about that. Good thing is that if you have been in IT for a few years and now you want to move into cybersecurity, you have a big advantage over non-IT workers. Given why? Because most cybersecurity jobs, they require a technical background. So I have done a detailed video on the different career paths that are available in cybersecurity. But let's focus on how to transition and which job maps to which and what you need to do to move to that field. So before we go ahead, guys, quick disclaimer. All of this is, of course, my subjective opinion based on my own experience of 20 years. I've tried to map IT jobs to cybersecurity jobs. So which is which job is the easiest to transition into given what you are currently doing and what are the knowledge you need to acquire to fill in the gaps. Okay, so let's take a look. First of all would be a network admin or a network engineer. Network admins or network engineer, you are the backbone of most IT departments, right? They make sure that the network infrastructure remains up and running. It's quite easy actually for network admins or network engineers to move into cybersecurity, as they are the ones who set up all the security appliances in the first place. I mean, in my experience, this is one of the smoothest transitions into cybersecurity roles. But what you need to do, so you will already know about things like denial of service, web application firewall. But in addition to the existing knowledge, you need to acquire other skills to impress your cybersecurity manager. You need to know things like incident response, okay? How the process works, not just like the alerting part. Threat modeling. You need to know how to identify security risks in existing network designs. I made a complete video on threat modeling. You can check that out. I'll try to link it. Endpoint security, network security, and those other security, it overlaps a lot with endpoint security. So you need to know how DLP endpoint security tools work, not just the networking tools. Infrastructure as code. Infrastructure as code. Why is that? Because even if you're not on cloud, even if you're on-prem, most of the network architectures are now being moved to being captured in code templates because it's much more efficient. So at least have a basic knowledge. You don't need to be a hardcore technical coding guy, but understand it. For certs, I would recommend going with the CISSP to complement your existing networking knowledge. It will give you a full understanding of all the security concepts that are there. Okay, so I hope you understood what I was talking about. Next, let's move on to system administration. So like network admins, system admins are another rock of the IT department because you make sure that day-to-day IT infrastructure servers are stable and secure. And if you're a system administrator working on-prem, purely on-prem infrastructure has a limited lifespan because cloud is being adopted. And a lot of system admins, I recommend to make the move to cloud, either managing cloud infrastructure or to a cloud security role. So you have these options available, a cloud security engineer or cloud security architect. So moving to cloud security from a system admin role, it usually requires a larger skill set change compared to the previous roles. Managing servers in the cloud, it can be quite similar, but cloud security itself, cloud environments, they're quite different from on-prem. something I've talked about many times. So at a minimum, what do you need to do? You need to understand cloud security posture management, because you need to know how to manage and maintain the cloud posture. Okay, the security posture. It's a must for cloud environments, multi-cloud environments especially. Again, infrastructure as code, same as before. No escape if you're managing infrastructure in the cloud. Single sign-on. Single sign-on is almost mandatory to have as a best practice in the cloud, given how much importance identities are given. You should know how SSO works from a cloud perspective. Again, I made a video on that. What are the SSO concepts? Check that out. For search, similar to the previous role, you can invest in a CSSP or maybe a CCSP also. Additionally, whatever environment you're working on, like AWS, Azure, they have vendor-specific or technology-specific certifications. Check that out. If you're completely new to the cloud, check out the Cloud Security for Beginners course I made, because that gives you a great foundational knowledge of the cloud. Okay, moving on. What is this here? Help desk engineers. Now, IT help desk engineers, I have a very high level of respect for. They are quite possibly the most well-known department in the company, being the first level of support for any IT issue. And their knowledge of the IT environment is usually unmatched by any other department, given the amount of issues they fix on a daily basis. It is just my own opinion, but I've always felt they make the most best cybersecurity people, and I've tried to hire them as much as possible. So, but the thing is, help desk does not usually have a good long-term prospects, right? Nobody wants to be working in for 20 years in a help desk. So a lot of help desk engineers, they want to transition to cybersecurity, and a cybersecurity engineer or a cloud security engineer is a great stepping stone. So what do you need to do? You need to understand, of course, things like CSPM, CASB, single sign-on, cloud security access brokers. These three tools usually they form the pillar for any effective cybersecurity or cloud security environment. Learn how these tools work, how they integrate. Okay, learn about endpoint security, things like DLP. They know how to install DLP help desk engineers, but how DLP works, what are the DLP roles, how endpoints works, what are the alerting to be aware of. Understand those. Okay, if it's going to be the cloud, you need to understand automation and remediation, right? Understand how these services work together, how remediation happens, how to make these services talk to each other. Okay, for certifications, I would recommend doing a CCSK as a beginner cert or a CompTIA Security Plus. That will really help you out, give you a great foundational knowledge of cybersecurity and cloud security. And again, if you're going to be working in a specific environment like AWS or Azure, please get that particular technology cert. So it gives you a great foundational knowledge which you can build upon. Okay, moving on. What else is there? Application developers. So if you're an application developer, then chances are you would have already interacted with the security team, right? Application developers, they are required, they are the center for any code security strategy, and they work closely with the cybersecurity team. This gives you a great opportunity to transition into a full-time DevSecOps role, because you have a great foundation in application development. I know a lot of people, they move from application development to DevSecOps because they had a great background already. As a DevSecOps engineer, you will be required to seamlessly integrate security into the application lifecycle, because you will be the security expert, right? All the developers are going to be coming to you. So what do you need to do? You need to know static and dynamic code analysis tools. Learn how to integrate these tools, and most importantly, how to communicate the findings. Nobody is going to read a 500-page report. Learn how to communicate, how to articulate these findings, and that is a big skill you need to have. Otherwise, you will have challenges. IT will not accept your findings; they will just challenge them. You need to articulate it, make them understand what the risk is. Okay. Threat modeling, again, how to identify security weaknesses in application design, how potential risk can emerge. Security code training. I'm not talking about getting the training yourself, giving the training, like refine your presentation skills. OWASP. Learning OWASP will give you a great way to benchmark and communicate findings, because then you have an industry benchmark to communicate the finding against. And learn what the OWASP top 10 are, what are the OWASP API security. I made a complete free course on API security. Check that out. For certs, I would recommend, first of all, for the cert, I would recommend, if you can, investing in science training courses for DevSecOps and application security, if you have the budget, because they are quite expensive. If your company is willing to sponsor, wonderful. If you don't, then Azure and AWS, they have application specific certifications you can look at. Not on security, but they have on DevOps and on coding. Try to get that, because that will give you a great understanding of how these cloud environments are working. Mostly DevSecOps, not always, but a lot of them are integrated with the cloud environment. Like I said again, and do check out the free API security course I made, because that will give you a completely free understanding of these things. Okay, what else is next? IT project managers, quite possibly the most common role in any IT department. If you're a project manager, you'll be handling the PMO, implementing projects, making sure everything is delivered on time, on schedule, on budget. Okay. And IT project managers, sometimes they get interested in cybersecurity and they want to transition. So you have two options available to you. If it's a large company you're moving into, then you can actually look at going to a cybersecurity project management role, because large companies will have from any given point in time 200, 300 projects happening. They will need a cybersecurity project manager. That is really easy to transition into. If it's a small company and they don't have a dedicated PMO, you can actually look into becoming a GRC specialist. I found that role is very easy for IT project managers to move into. Why? Well, because you already are familiar with governance, okay, from the project governance perspective. You know about frameworks such as ITIL, you know about something like ISO 9001, those things. All you need to do is complement that knowledge with security standards like ISO, PCI, okay, the benchmark, CIS benchmarks, understand about risk assessments. You can look at investing into ISO 27001, lead auditor, certified implementer, or a PCI DSS course. I have a course on that. You can check that out on Udemy. You can look at GRC solutions like Archer. Gain. There are some free trainings available. I've seen that on the internet, but that will really help you out. And you can do something like CIRIS or CISA. That will really help you out if you want to transition into the GRC specialist role. Okay. Lastly, it is an IT manager or a CIO. So if you already have leadership position, like you are in a manager or CIO, you don't want to move back into technical, but you are still interested in moving into a cybersecurity, then you have two options. If it's a large company, you can actually move into IT security manager role. You will be managing teams and those guys. And if it's a smaller company, you can actually move directly into deputy CISO role, because teams are looking at those sort of people with that knowledge. Again, but what is very important, guys, while you need a little bit of technical knowledge, not that much, but you need to understand budget control, speaking to the board about security issues, communicating value, strategy, recruitment. The list is too long to complete. Look at investing in certifications like CRISC and CISSP, because that will give you a great 1,000-foot view knowledge of all the cybersecurity concepts that are there. And like I said, this is a very detailed role. I am going to make a full video about the CISO role. What are the job roles and responsibilities? What you need to do to succeed. Okay, guys, I hope this was useful to you. Please do comment and let me know if any roles I might have missed, or you feel I should have covered some other skill. Let me know how I can improve these videos also. And please do like and subscribe to this channel. It will really help the channel to grow and reach the maximum amount of people. Okay, guys, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.